Yo, family, what's good? Welcome back to another daily live stream. We have seen some interesting developments as of yesterday's stream. We have seen after yesterday's actually relatively bullish and dovish FOMC meeting, we saw the markets pull back. They're starting to make a bit of a recovery now, starting to stabilize. We're looking also at Casper, where we have seen some interesting developments. Some words are coming out from Michael Sutton, talking about how it looks like the interaction in regards to research and developments of Casper is accelerating now. More people getting involved. It's fantastic to hear. Because other posts as well, updates regarding HTX exchange, and also some unfortunate, sad news, because Kas.Fyi, the main domain that people tend to use when trying to search up anything Casper or KYC related, is unfortunately going to be shutting down. We'll get to that as well in a moment. As always, family, if you enjoy the content, leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss when I'm going live. And we will get into the content straight away, and then I'll come back to welcome everyone once more to the channel. So I'm going to start off with this post here as well, because I find it kind of interesting. Nicholas Sismore here, who used to work for head of listing at Binance US and now is part of the Cas media team. He joined Casper. What he said here is quite similar to something that I've been saying to my VIPs now for, again, a few months now. Unusual Well made a post here saying that Michael Bowie has said he's expecting a prolonged market-wide sell-off worse than 2000, which lasted 31 months. I think when the market goes down, it's not like the 2000s were there. With this other bunch of stocks that were ignored, and they'll come up even if the Nasdaq crashes. Now I think the whole thing's just going down. Nicholas replied here saying there's definitely going to be a major market sell-off in the next 3 months or so, but it won't last that long. We will have QE and we'll have low interest rates to the rescue. And that is ultimately my sentiment as well. There does seem to be a lot of potential developments that are taking shape in the general economy, which does indicate or lead toward potential negativity, selling off and whatnot, because the ISM has been below 50 for a while. People are getting very, very hot and bothered and frustrated with the lack of movement, if you will. Right now, only institutions that have money, retail, are broke for the most part. But I do agree with Nicholas Sismore. This is all what's happening right now, but we heard Jerome Powell yesterday. There's a slowing down, a cooling off of jobs, which is not good. And inflation is still a little bit sticky, but it's not rallying right now. It seems to have had a bit of a rally off the back of tariffs, and now it's stabilized, which is also good. And we are now also seeing the US Treasury apparently has just bought back $12.5 billion of their own debt, equaling their largest buyback in history, which happened last week. So we have that, which is a reassuring development. And then also we know that the Federal Reserve, starting tomorrow, will be buying back $30 billion worth of US Treasuries over a span of 30 days as well. So we are actively now seeing these entities, governmental bodies, who are starting to, long and short, but this is the start of QE. It's not full-blown QE. Typically, to make it apparent, quantitative easing does come after QT, quantitative tightening, but it's very, very rare that the Fed will do it before a crisis and a crash. Normally, you'll see the crisis crash come through and then QE comes to save it, which is ultimately what Nicholas was trying to get at here. While we are seeing some buybacks happening right now, which does seem to be an indication of some form of QE or injecting of liquidity, I've seen Nicholas post a few recently talking about how it's not actually QE. QE only happens after a market crash. Think back what happened to 2008 housing bubble. The Fed started QE once the crash happened. Similar to COVID as well. Once that crash happened, then QE started. So it means there's a possibility we see something break soon. But it's not me trying to spread FUD. It's just me trying to give a general market outlook in this regard. But I am intrigued by what's happening right now. And I do think, it's what I said to my VIPs, I think we do see potential pullbacks at some point soon. We might see a bit of a rally in the short term though, given that we now have got a more dovish Fed, which is something that people are waiting for. So we could see some movement soon. Then probably VERS will come back down a little bit until the QE properly takes off money comes to the economy, rate cuts continue, interest rates fall down, and then we see a booming market, to which I think then Casper will perform very, very well. CFTC has announced withdrawals of outdated crypto gunners. That's a very, very big deal as well. Those that were restricting crypto are now being removed. Another very bullish announcement. The market structure bill apparently is a bipartisan meeting taking place right now, which is being met with mixed opinions. Some are saying it's still very rigid and it's got certain policies involved that allow the banks to kind of to go behind the scenes. I think the terminology was it was BSA, which is for Bank Secrecy Act. So apparently those are still implemented. We'll have to see what happens in that regard, but the market structure bill is being advanced, which is actually reassuring. So hopefully it continues. And also in big news, JP Morgan's the first major security issuance on a public blockchain. JP Morgan's actively getting involved now, doing so on Solana as well. Which, I mean, we'll have a look at Solana right now, see how it's performing, if it has actually correlated to any form of price moves. If not, then that supports something I've been saying for a time now. 1% up, nothing too significant, up 1%. It did, actually, that's all it's done. It's actually, maybe you saw Solana down a lot more earlier and then it started rallying back up to go up, but it's only up 1.4% right now. Actually, no, it's up 0.86%. I tell a lie. It's barely up 1% right now. So this coincides with what I've been saying for a while now, which is FOMO is no longer a thing that drives market price. It's what people have been saying time and time again regarding Casper in particular, about how 10 BPS, 100 BPS, V proxies are going to pump the price. No, it's not. These are, JP Morgan jumping on Solana is a significant development. It's huge. It's very, very big. That's not pumped the price because we need no actual use case. It's just the start of it. Once this rallies up more so and gains more traction and adoption, that will start resulting in more inflows, more capital, higher demand for Solana, and that will then correlate to price rising. You've got to understand right now we're not on a hype FOMO cycle anymore. What matters now is utility and use case, which is why it's imperative that capital adoption starts to rally sooner than later. So in the short recap there, we might see some pullback soon enough, but ultimately 2026 is going to still be very, very bullish. We're seeing buyback of US Treasuries right now, which is fantastic. Crypto structure, market structure bill is being spoken about and discussed more so today in a bipartisan meeting. CFTC is announcing withdrawal of outdated crypto gunners, which is fantastic. JP Morgan, first major security issuance on a public blockchain, and then equally, we're apparently hearing that Trump is preparing to introduce large tax breaks for corporations. Rich get rich, poor get poor, same old in that regard. But it's still going to help in the risk-on market, where apparently under Trump's new tax bill, corporations can claim retroactive research and development deductions said to be worth $67 billion. So in hindsight, you can see that sort of capital come into high-risk markets, be it crypto, be it stocks, be it equities, and we'll see more so go forward. But that's, again, reassuring to see. So that building on top of what Jerome posted yesterday does look like we're getting some relatively good economic data coming out now, which is fantastic stuff all around. Now, with that very quick summary and covering the general fundamental news, we're now going to get into the Casper content, which it has been quite, well, good and bad. We're going to cover the bad one first, and then I'll get into the questions and welcome everyone right now. So this is from Crypto.K, who is the developer behind Kas.Fyi. We can see here Kas.Fyi, based on this here. Casper community, it's been a privilege knowing and serving you all over the past 3 years. We've decided to shut down Kas.Fyi in the next few days, and KDP along with its API services will be discontinued in 30 days to allow current users to migrate. All other Kas.Fyi related services and tools will be shut down there shortly after. Thank you for trusting us and working with us. Been a lot. Yours truly, the entire Kas.Fyi team, which is aka Crypto.K777. And he gave his own update in response to that as well. And this post was met with some FUD, understandably, because, well, the mannerism he used in regards to giving his reasoning made it seem like he doesn't think Casper's going to take off anytime soon. Without being too cliche, I want to thank a few people on this journey. Super Typo, Casper wouldn't exist without your support in the early days, Michael Sutton, some other people who've helped a lot in his conviction for Casper and whatnot. But then he said here, thank you, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to do other things, so I'm not a bit active in the Casper community for quite a while. Before I leave, though, if there's a single message I want to leave the community, it's this. My conviction in Casper has never changed, which is good, but unfortunately, it hasn't grown for a while either. So he is still very committed in Casper, but whereas for a lot of us, we hear news and we start to increase our belief in Casper, he's not been feeling that. He's just been like, I still believe in Casper, but it's not getting any better. Casper has one of the best blockchain technologies, best researchers, best core devs, period. So he still believes that. But the problem is, to me, Casper is becoming more and more like the Dewey or G and mouse at the Rocks Park. I'm not entirely sure what that is, to be honest, but he gave the analysis of it's a brilliant innovation, but not yet something that reaches the millions of people like what Apple eventually did. So in other words, he is saying that Casper usability is his single biggest concern about Casper's future. He thinks Casper's fantastic, but he's worried about adoption, which, to be fair, Son Polinsky did address that as something that we also need to do as well in regards to the security budget. Casper needs mass adoption. As an engineer, I totally get the impulse to build something cool and revolutionary, but there's still a long way to go before it becomes something usable and useful. Until then, it risks remaining a toy hyped within a niche circle. That message was definitely and understandably met with a lot of backlash, because he's basically just said, thank you for all the work and the support you gave to me over the few years, but as it stands right now, I think Casper's fantastic, one of the best protocols in this space, but I just don't think it's going to take off anytime soon. He's not saying it's not going to take off, but he just doesn't see it happening in the immediate future, so he's trying to shift away. Which I get, as an engineer, as a developer, I understand that completely. One thing that I would add to that is, for one, as big as impactful as Kas.Fyi has been, there are other alternatives out there. You've got Casper Lens's platform, you've got Casstream, both of which I showed in these streams previously. I can show them both right now. You've got Casper Lens, you've got Casper Stream. These two here are good alternatives, and I'm sure there's some other ones out there as well. The only shortcoming is I don't think KYC is showcased properly in these two, whereas of course with Kas.Fyi you can see the whole KYC ecosystem. So maybe we'll see some changes in that regard, these UIs, these websites incorporating that element. But also, in regards to the adoption, it's understandable right now because Casper's still developing, and also we've had as you look at key factors to determine how the cycle is behaving, look at the ISM, the business cycle. It's been below 50 pretty much throughout all of the last 2 years. It's had 3 instances in the past 2 years where it's gone above 50, which means the economy for 2 years now, and in fact it's been longer. It's been since, you want to consider it properly, it's been since 2022. Because I don't count these little peaks here. I want to see it, rally like that. So the ISM has been, the economy has been contracting since 2022, 3 years. As a result, therefore, there's been a lack of price development and movement in a lot of these assets. Saying that, Casper still did a fantastic rally around here. So, okay, I guess my point being is, as I made here, thank you for all your hard work. It's a shame to see you leave, but I understand his reasoning for why he wants to leave and why he feels he needs to take some take a step back. I'm hoping some other people can pick up the reins to kind of take over some key parts to that. Casper is bigger than just one UI or one website. While a big one, an impactful one, it's bigger than just that. And I can only wish him the best on his next journey, and hoping that it will eventually lead him back to Casper one day. If, and for me again, when Casper does get that adoption and then is utilized massively by everybody, is my vision for Casper still. So that is a bit of unfortunate news to see, knowing that the website's going to be shutting down. We have other alternatives. We'll see, I'm sure, more developments come out in the next few days as well. Looking at Casper right now, we did see a mass sell-off earlier, where Casper was down, I think, about 5% or so. Yeah, 5-6%. Now it's currently down 0.67%, because now Bitcoin equally was down today, and now it's starting to rally, which, again, this is what I said yesterday, actually. I said Bitcoin, I said it to my VLP, I said Bitcoin needs to surpass here for us to move up here. If it doesn't put the pass here, it's going to just stay suppressed and go down more than likely. It's going down today, and now you're seeing buyers now pushing the price up quite aggressively right now because it's actually currently on a rally. We'll see Bitcoin probably reach here, and we'll see if it gets rejected there or not. Or if it's to pass that. If it passes that, we'll probably see 100k Bitcoin. If it doesn't, then so be it. And Casper was down earlier. Now it's currently at 4.8 cents. Casper equally needs to end its trading day within the support band for us to have a chance to go back up to 5.1 cents here. Otherwise, Casper will probably end up retracing back down to 4.3 down here. But right now, it's looking more optimistic with Bitcoin starting to rally. Casper's going to start running with it. And we've heard a lot of insightful information, alpha information from many people in the Casper community and developers, like Sutton, Plinsky and whatnot, over the last few days. And we've heard some big announcements here from Mark Sutton as well, which is actually building on more FOMO for Casper, which is fantastic. And this actually, to me, could completely negate what Crypto.K is saying here. Because long and short, before we get into it in more detail, Mark Sutton is saying here that we're starting to see a lot more acceleration in regards to this real work being done for Casper, which means that's the case. You see big things like VPOC stuff come out sooner, hopefully, and that means you have a quicker chance of seeing adoption, and then that means Crypto.K and his Casper will probably end up coming back in some matter of regard because, well, he's leaving for lack of, because he doesn't believe in the adoption coming through very soon, but if it comes through soon, then he'll probably come back. Now, before we get into a bit more content or questions about that, let's get into some questions first and foremost. Welcome back, Greg. Hope you're doing very, very well. And you too, Stuntoma. Hope you're doing very, very well, brother. I don't know what I think YouTube changed the name, so now it shows your apps. I think you can change that in the YouTube studio, I think Mr. Mars said. And when he comes back to the streams, you can ask him or ask him in the Discord server. I know he's somewhat active there, but I know he's got some stuff going on right now. Welcome back, Wing Hongboy. You're doing very, very well. We moon yet? No, unfortunately not. Soon enough, though. Have I tried Arc Raiders yet? I have not. I haven't really played any games, actually, in a very, very long time. I literally sit on this computer all day working, be it doing research, be it doing stuff for the VIP, be it doing videos and whatnot. I'm here most of the time. And then, of course, I have my other work that I do outside of my computer and stuff like that as well. So I unfortunately don't play many games anymore. It's quite sad, actually, because I used to love doing it. Be it, I remember playing a game actually somewhat recently. It was this new Inazuma 11 game, which I thought was quite entertaining. I might try Arc Raiders at one point though, but I've seen gameplay of it. It looks quite cool. And welcome back, Baby Daddy Boy, doing very, very well. And you too, Tony. What's good, my quick critter family and Coin Factory family? You know the saying. And welcome back, Dimitar, my man. And yes, I was a little bit late, but hey, I'm here now, right? And welcome back, Blaze, you're doing very, very well. And you too, Brett, and you too, Double D. You're very beautiful today. I appreciate it very much, Bing Hong. Thank you, thank you. And you too, Lau, again, welcome back, my man. In 6 to 8 months, you'll have hundreds of live views. I hope so for you when the market picks up and the word of Casper adoption, boom, patient and rewards. I hope so as well. I don't think VPOCs will be a price pumper, but if liquidity is expanding and the market's growing, Casper will go with it. VPOCs could act as another foundation layer to bring more adoption, which will correlate to more demand and value for Casper as well. And then you'll hear more people want to know what Casper's about. You know, despite Casper not doing very well as of late, Casper is still up 37% from launch, give or take, 28%, which is significant, and it rallied up to 100,000 at its peak. So Casper still outperformed the rest of the market by quite a margin in this current bull cycle, which we're now extending, of course. Everyone is all worried about adoption until the price blasts off and nobody can ignore it anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing for Bitcoin. Everyone was very, very scared of Bitcoin in the early days, thinking it's not going to take off. And now look at Bitcoin, 92,800. And it was at 126 2 months ago. Everyone's worried about adoption until it happens. Which is not how it goes. The difference is there are projects out there and teams that they're worried about adoption and doing nothing about it. Casper Core, they are doing stuff about it. They are doing stuff. They are building more. They could definitely work more on marketing. I think that is definitely something that needs to be focused on more so. How we go about that, I don't know. I mean, of course, Fair Launch Project, I'm doing my job of trying to talk about Casper and market it. But unfortunately, if it's me marketing it, I only reach retail for the most part. If you want to get some bigger institutional names looking into Casper, not for VC backing per se, but just to being treated enough to want to invest out of their own pocket, you need to kind of have them, or you want people to build on Casper that brings in more adoption as well. You need to bridge that gap, if you will. But the understanding of VPOG still very much so is a very niche of an idea that not a lot of people understand. Soon people will, and I'm convinced about that. But until that gap is bridged, you won't see people want to willingly build on Casper because they don't know how it works. And it's a hassle when you can just utilize Ethereum that everyone already knows how Ethereum works, basically. How to build on Ethereum. If you use VPOGs, it'd be better, but I agree. I would ultimately agree. People are worried right now. That's why CryptoK has left. He's worried about the adoption. Doesn't see it happening for a few years. I would not lie in saying I think Shai has been a big reason for why people are being quite bearish right now, because Shai has also said that these developments will take years. VPOGs will take years. And he's not necessarily incorrect, but also just to play the other side of the coin. He is not in these conversations with Michael Sutton, with Hans Moog, with Crypto Aspect, with Son Polinsky, where they are talking. And these people, once who are saying 6 to 8 months is very possible, because they have actually been researching it since 10 BPS, since May 2024. Shai has not been knowing that. He's not been in the conversations. So he's saying 2 years. He may be correct, or he may be right in that it will take longer. We have to wait and see. But right now we have a lot of people in the Casper community and the developers who believe it will come sooner than we think. And Michael Sutton just said here, I've never felt a stronger dissonance between how Casper's R&D is thriving and how parts of the community seem to be feeling. So as it stands right now, and I can attest to that because I'm part of the community, I have seen that the FUD has been probably the largest it has been. So many people were like, oh, adoption's not going to happen, yada, yada. It's been terrible. I've probably replied to more FUD comments just because I've felt the willingness to do so for the community. Like, they're complaining about never going to take off. I'm like, right, given my opinions on that fact. But I've replied to more FUD comments in the past 3 or 4 days than I probably have in the past 2 or 3 months. Mainly because the FUD comments come from trolls, so I haven't bothered doing so. But there's been a massive dissonance between that community and also how now the Kaspa of research and development is actually thriving more than ever before. TLDR, talent and expertise are compounding in research and development, and real work is being done. More concrete updates soon, which is great to hear. To go into a bit more detail here, what I see is the strongest indication of long-term growth is that Casper's R&D circles are expanding day by day. You can feel it, not just by growing in size, but maturing in spirit as well. More and more contributors, full of passion and a desire to understand, explore, and contribute to the core technology keep popping up. More vibe coders opening PRs, more people writing Casper improvement proposals. Parallel research / developer efforts are converging into a single coherent vision. Timelines are also clearing up. Remember yesterday, or even the video I just posted as well, we went through what Crypto Aspect stated, which is that 6 to 8 months is possible if everyone does it in a conjoined, concise, and collaborated effort. Right now, we're seeing people collaborating more so. It's becoming more coordinated. OG contributors are regathering, and coders of stuff are talking about Dag Knight's cascading voting algorithm in their sleep. He has no proof of that, but he could be wrong. A bit of a joke there, either way. At the same time, deep core narratives that will lead to near-term products are being polished and understood as we speak. That is reassuring to hear. Because right now, the biggest issue with Casper is that it's got no adoption right now, so near-term is fantastic. These will be delivered. These will be delivered. Not a matter of if, when. It will be delivered. And Casper's main superiority point is taking shape in front of our eyes. Fast Proof of Work provides true real-time decentralization, probably for the first time ever. Of course, we do know Microsoft's always been optimistic. He said 10 BPS was going to happen sooner than it actually did. So he's always been quite forward-looking. But either way, the dissonance is especially interesting that to follow. Bitcoin has died many, many times. Ethereum went through its overphase many, many times. Solana definitely felt dead, especially last cycle. I had so many friends of mine who sold Solana when it went down to less than $10. And I had one mate of mine, who now is actually a millionaire, who bought Solana when it was at $10 thinking it would come back. And of course, Solana had that massive meme coin rally. And it exploded to all-time highs last year. People always have the opinion that this is over. Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana had, it is dead, it is over. The 3 biggest. Of course, they're bigger, so they survived, but they weren't always that way. They were small and then they exploded. Casper has the most innovative technology in this space. It has all the capabilities to expand and to survive. It does need marketing. I'm not ignorant to that. So it's our job to continue pushing Casper out there in regards to what it's building. And I'm sure you're going to see efforts from the KEF and other entities, and probably even Casper Core and other members who are trying to formulate some research papers and stuff like that to actually bring more education to Casper so that other people can actually learn about it. People understandably correlate weak price action with long-term prosperity, which we've been saying time and time again. In fact, I have showcased research documents from other institutions like Signum Bank, which says price volatility and regulatory implications are just surface distractions in what has become a foundational layer for long-term success, which is crypto. Paraphrase there, but the main key part is price volatility and regulatory implications are surface level distractions. But unfortunately, retail, people like us, we are naturally emotional and we don't think that way. We see price bad, project bad, which for the most case is normally accurate because a lot of projects in this space are just scams. Terrible. ICP, down 90% of all-time highs. It's terrible. I don't think it'll do anything. You have so many other projects that are also down massively from all-time highs. Casper is down 75% of all-time highs. It's been a long pullback, but most projects right now in this space, especially altcoins, they're down 75% of all-time highs. So Casper's not doing worse than them by that chance. It's just smaller, I guess. Even when fundamentals are quietly compounding, part of my challenge is figuring out how to share that vantage point so more of the community can feel what I'm seeing up close. And I'll be honest, this is why I do miss Shy. You may hate Shy and I don't care. You don't care. I miss Shy for the fact that he was good at this. By learning, taking in and researching what it is that these core members were doing and then sharing it for the noobs, the normies who didn't understand it. Putting it into words that we can understand. That's what Shy was good at. It would be nice to have someone who could do that again. Whether it be Michael Sutton, whether it be Son Polinsky, whether it be Hans, someone who could actively do that to bring what Casper, because right now they're talking, but we don't know what they're talking about. They've been doing VPOGs, apparently R&D for a year and a half. We already found out about that yesterday. That's news to me. So since 10 BPS was released, they had maybe a month off and they've been doing continuously since then. I didn't know that until yesterday. That's something that could have been communicated a little bit. Now, maybe they were in the right forums. I didn't see the right forums, but it should be known more. And I think that is especially something that Casper Core now are realizing more. So again, it's that marketing element. So they're saying research is thriving right now, which is good to hear. Hopefully they can showcase some proof of that. And have people actually showcasing this stuff so we can see what's happening. And that'll hopefully trigger community sentiment to start rallying up again. And the FOMO can start building and the belief can start building again. Because right now people just look at price and think, oh, it's terrible. And like, spoiler alert, price will get worse. Probably will do. Again, we're going back to this first post here. The possibility that price gets worse. It's a possibility. It's not guaranteed. But I'm still under the impression that with what's happening next week in particularly, we could see further headwinds and further pullbacks. It's not financial advice, of course, do your own research, but it's a possibility, right? You can find out more about that sort of stuff in my VIP. Posted so much more information about that, so we are perfectly aware and positioned for the market trends and what's going to happen. You can find that out all down below in the description. But as it stands right now, Casper, it's building. Retail thinks it's dead. Developers don't. Of course, that's understandable. They would always think it's their products alive. But I choose to believe that. Because when it comes to use cases, or when it comes to this tokenization world we're going towards, right? Where blockchain is becoming the foundational backbone, financial backbone for the entire monetary world going forward. Blockchain is going to be that significant. We have seen, or at least maybe not all of you have done, but I know I have done for my VIP information, so much concerns by these institutions regarding scalability concerns, regarding security and privacy concerns, regarding global fragmentation concerns, stuff that cannot be solved with a centralized chain. It's no different. You can only do it through decentralization. Casper's the only one that can fix that. So Casper gets adoption, it will take off. That's not for me it's not like a if. For me, it will happen. For me, it will happen. When is the question though? And then equally building on that as well, which is also quite reassuring, Coda submitted a post here about PR 740 has apparently just merged with the Rusty Casper repo. I'll be honest, I put this into Gemini to find out what it really meant, because I didn't know what it really meant, the significance of this, which to summarize that, because that's just the way I want to put it down, it basically just means that, long and short of it is the PR 740 significantly improves the usability and accessibility of Casper's network for third-party developers and service providers and services by providing richer data in a simpler and more conventional API format. So that is also something really, really big, because we don't want Casper to become the most innovative technology, but the technological hurdle to jump into it is too big. You want it to be as seamless as what they're doing right now on Ethereum to Casper, if not even easier. So that's a big development here in that as well. So that's going to make adoption of Casper hopefully a lot better when it does take off. So that's also fantastic. So again, things are looking better now, which is good to see. Now, I'll get into some other posts real quickly. Before I do, though, let's get some more questions again. We can see next one is here from Dung Knight. I'll just keep stacking while it's boring. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Casper's currently only down 0.34 now, which is good. Hopefully, we see a bit more movement. If it finishes right here, that'd be actually quite good for me, because it means it's still in this zone here, meaning that we could see a push back up here. If Bitcoin does break above 94k, which right now, again, as I mentioned, it's going to probably push above that, or going to make an attempt to. Whether it will or not will depend on market behavior. All everyone needs to do is keep stacking, set up a node, and spread the word. It's what we're all trying to do right now. 100%. Copy marketing by Casper. Listing should have happened long ago. No one knows about it still. I mean, yes, I don't disagree with copy marketing by Kaspa. Listing should happen long ago. I mean, yes, but then are you saying we should have paid for listings? Because the big exchanges, Binance, have known a Casper for 2 years now, since December 2023. But they want to be paid for a listing. But it's a community-funded project. Who's got the money to pay for? Who are you going to pay for Casper? Because the devs don't have money to pay for. There's no pre-allocations. So when they're going to get the money to give to Binance for a listing? They don't own the supply of the tokens. They don't. It's not like a proof of stake. John Belinsky, Mark, they don't own a set supply of the token, a TVL, total value locked, to give to an exchange. So where are they going to get it from? You got, speaking of this, you got HTX, which Johnny confirmed that we will find out when the listing comes through when he pays them. Now, KEF, to my knowledge, they have their kind of funding because they are the company underneath Ice River who made their gains from being an early miner of Casper, making gains from Casper early on. But KEF are doing their due diligence and their job to help in getting Casper adoption to spread. So they are going to pay for HTX listings. So the marketing is starting to improve in that regard, therefore. Although that does therefore leave a bigger risk that HTX will start dumping on us because they're being paid for it, like what MEXC did to us. But Johnny's not paying for Binance and Coinbase because Binance and Coinbase are asking for a lot more money. Extortionately more, apparently. So, is what that is. I agree, marketing crap. That's what they're trying to actively take matters into their own hand to change that now. That's what Tom Belinsky spoke about 2 weeks ago. Or, sorry, last week, Tuesday, he spoke about that. So they're starting to shift prices a little bit in regards to developing a lot more, communicating a lot more with the big one, and trying to kind of expand more so as well. So you're not completely wrong, but there are, again, elements to understand about that coin, because fair and community project, who's going to pay for a listing? Kraken did it for free. More should be like Kraken, but not everyone's like Kraken. It's such an understandable statement. Even Yoni mentioned the emission problem, though I don't think it's much of a problem, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's a problem if it doesn't take off, but that's therefore under the percent that Casper will do nothing in 2 years. If we get a bull cycle next year, Casper for me is going to surpass all-time highs at the very minimum. Not financial advice, of course, do your own research. That's the most I'll give in regards to price prediction, but I think Casper can surpass all-time highs at the very minimum if we go into a bull cycle. And that, again, will help pay support the security budget for a little bit. And not to mention as well, Iglan's going to be releasing their layer 2 in the next few months. They've got, I think, a closed mainnet or something in that regard coming out this month, and they've got the full mainnet coming out in March. If that does take off well, that'll also help facilitate the miners as well. So I'm not too worried about the security budget right now. And there are measures being taken right now to prevent it from becoming a bigger concern later on. Tau doing a nice pump. Tau is currently up 3.5%. Yeah, it's at 302, which is like good. Very, very good. And yeah, it's heading into a halving as well, so we could potentially see a little bit of relief and a higher pump for Tau, which is great. I mean, again, Tau is one of my biggest convictions as well. I think right behind Casper, actually. And there's some other AI ones that I'm looking at as well, because AI is going to be huge. That's just 100%. BS cycle is more like it. Yeah, it's been a terrible cycle. This 2025 cycle has been, I mean, technically speaking, 2025 2025 started here. So Bitcoin is actually down this year. Give or take around there. Bitcoin's down this year. So I mean, of course, we still got another like 20 days left, but it's down this year. So it's been technically, this is meant to be our bull cycle year. We have not seen any growth in crypto, technically speaking. We've seen altcoins shrink more so, Bitcoin take more of the capital, and Bitcoin's actually lower in value. This is why, again, next year will be big. We haven't started QE yet. QE is going to start next year. ISM will start expanding. Crypto will start exploding. Welcome back, Go-To Budget. Very, very well with that. And yes, smash the like button if you agree and you enjoy the streams. YouTube has told them Casper holders wanted it soon. Oh yeah, 100%. Again, I don't disagree with people being pissed. And that's also why I don't do price predictions. Or at least I stopped to. I used to do it, following the trend, but I stopped doing it because I understood very much so the damage that can cause to general people who unfortunately don't do their own research and make their own decisions. They just listen to people blindly like sheep. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to offend anybody, but unfortunately people just like to listen and just not do their own research. And I get that. That's also why it's up to me to take some more responsibility. That's why I don't do predictions. I can talk about the current movement of the price action TA. I can talk about, me saying Casper surpassed all-time highs. I don't think it's an egregious thing to say. I think that's going to happen. But those who said $1, $5, or even $10 or $30 Casper by 2025, they sold them a dream. Of course they're pissed. They are expecting one thing and didn't get it because they are following people who simply just moonboys, who didn't understand, well, that anybody really did understand how this year was going to pan out. They are still buying into the 4-year cycle thesis, which died. Research tells me died back in 2022 as well. And you can find access to that document in my VIP. Has anything changed with DRI? Well, the last we heard from their summit last month. Other than that, I don't know. But they're an enterprise arm of Casper, if you will. You're not going to get updates from them all the time. People are just fudding them because they want to fud things. Right now, because Casper price is so bad, everyone's trying to find something to fud about. This caused a lot of fud. It's a website, it's a UI, but it caused a lot of FUD. Because Kaspa is doing so bad, any small amount of news causes a massive reaction. You can see so much in regards to big bullish announcements. One bad thing, it sends it down. People are emotional. Did you know we can all be millionaires if we get to $1 million? Yeah, crazy that. And yeah, it probably will do. I'm sure that's me saying Kaspa's going to take off. Yeah, it probably will do. Casper's been dead for almost a year. Crap coins get listed, fart coin low. Yeah, it has been dead for over a year. If you're talking about when it was all-time highs, yeah, it was at all-time highs back in August 2024. It's been dead for year and a half now. I say dead. It's been down in price action. I'd argue the volatility here does not represent dead. If you look at Jasmine, you see some spikes there, but that to me is more dead. You saw it from launch, come all the way down here, hovering down here for ages. A little bit of spark there, come back down again. Look at ICP. I don't want that. USDT. Some volatility again a little bit more recently when everything else was rallying up. But again, from its launch up here, it's been down here. Look at that's a flat chart. That's ICP, and you're looking at Casper's here. It's come down to almost the level it started at, but Casper's still up 25,000% from launch. Most others are down 70+% from launch. Casper's been struggling because there's been no liquidity in the market, and capital marketing's not been the best either. But there are measures being taken now to change that. I really doubt Shy is gone for good. I do miss him. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Shy's gone for good either, but I think his way to get back into Kaspa, he won't. Beforehand, he was kind of doing it off his own back in a sense, or being paid with a KF. He will only come back if he's paid, 100%. Shy won't come back have his own coalition anymore. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he doesn't speak to Michael Sutton or to Tom Polinsky either anymore. And apparently they were mates, but they had some bad falling out, and they don't speak at all anymore. So yeah, I don't think. I think Shy will eventually come back. Not that he'll be welcomed with open arms, because he is, despite being gone, he's still been circling around the edge of Casper community for so long and he's providing, been doing a lot of, whether justified or not, a lot of FUD campaigns on KF and Casplex, even some Polinsky as well, that he's just now got a very bad name behind himself. So if he comes back, who knows? Who knows? I doubt there'll be anything better that comes out than Kaspa for a long, long time. When you think about technology, there is like nothing compared to Kaspa right now. And those who try to come out, you had was it Pyron? There have been a number of Casper dupes. I think Pyron was one of them. Yeah, you had a number of so-called Casper dupes. Pyron was one of them. It tried to do the same thing, 10 BPS, all this sort of stuff. Now worth nothing because it couldn't compete, because it didn't work. The technology they tried to do was not functioning properly. Whereas Casper is different. Casper, its architecture cannot be compared to. So I don't think you'll see anything come out similar to Casper, at least not anytime soon. You might see it in the next 30 years, 20 years. By that point, Casper will already be a lot higher, in my belief, personal belief, not financial advice, and then we can decide if we want to pivot from there either or not. I mean, yeah, there are community funds set up to pay for listings and whatnot, but not everyone wants to give up their Casper or their money to pay for a listing. That sentiment might change now, but most people just don't want to do that. They just want to wait. Binance was lying all this 2 years, my opinion. It takes half to find a master demanded listing for futures. Showing on Binance, after this event, they will always short a lot of money. I do believe, Binance have apparently been talking to Casper for a while. I do believe that Binance do see Casper as an opportunity. But maybe they're trying to delay it for longer. I don't know. I do think, some Polinsky said as well, like, they've been talking for 2 years. He knows that much. And he said that they're, like, after, especially we heard more recently from Wolfie, that they're still demanding 3% of the total supply or something like that. Was it 3% or was it 5%? I think it's 3%. That's when Yoni came out with a 3 million post just saying, you guys are jokers. Like, we don't care anymore. But the futures had definitely played a part into capital price going down for so long, because Binance are the biggest manipulators. That's why I never understood people saying just pay for a Binance listing. Binance are the biggest manipulators in this market. You think MXC is bad? Binance are 20 times worse. They are a far bigger exchange. If you pay for Binance listing, it would be the biggest pump and dump of Casper. And I wouldn't say it would destroy Casper, but it would definitely not do good things in the short term. You're better off waiting for Binance to actually do it out of their own coalition. Will they do that? Who knows? But I know some people said, don't bother for it anymore. He basically just said run a smear campaign on them for launching Pepe and other crap coins, which, I'm all for it. ICP, yeah, ICP is terrible. Absolutely terrible. That one is dead. And you even now saw Cityscape, James Allen, who was building on ICP, now saying, yeah, I'm completely dropping ship to Casper now. Because what Casper is building makes ICP completely obsolete. And he's a Web3 developer, he's doing the building and stuff, so I trust his opinion more than a YouTuber, frankly. We need Shard to spread the FUD. How are we ever going to get cheap Casper? Fair play goes here. You know what? I agree. They're right now, Bitcoin maxes are trashing Casper a lot because the price is bad. If Casper got to all-time highs, they will stop fighting it again. But because every time you try to have a technological conversation with Bitcoin Maxi, you get nowhere, and they just basically say Casper's a shitcoin. That's it. That's all it does. Once Casper gets past all-time highs again and starts to rally, that only argument they have won't work. It'll be, it's not Bitcoin. Well, no, of course it's not. It's better. But until the price, unfortunately, again, a lot of Bitcoin maximalists are not Bitcoin maximalists anymore. They're at least, well, they're not in the old sense of where it's meant to be a peer-to-peer electronic money. They're just Bitcoin, good, number one, price high. That's all they think. They welcome treasuries being formed for Bitcoin, which I get, but that's not an ideal thing, because it means you're locking away Bitcoin from the general public. It's becoming more centralized. So, yeah. Once Casper surpasses all-time highs, you'll see Bitcoin Maxi jumping ship a lot more so as well. No doubt about it, my belief. I don't understand how a proof of work project is dumping so much and easily. You got exchanges who are short on the price. there could be a whole level of reasons. Of course, FUD right now is quite high. People are frustrated. There's no liquidity in the market. There's no liquidity for retail to buy and sell, really. Right now, this stream is currently sitting at it's a very nice 46 viewers. Welcome, all of you. But back in, back here, I was getting on average and this is when I first started streaming as well. I was getting on average 70. Has some peaking to 120. Capital's higher value. Most retail don't care about the technological advancements of Casper and how big it's going to be. They just care about price. It's a sad reality. But that just means we get to take advantage of the cheap price, and if the price and when the price does return, we make the most of it. And then those who will say, "Oh, you're so lucky." No, we weren't lucky. We just researched. We knew what we were holding. Now some other news real quickly. Apparently, Casper swaps are now available through Ledger, which is huge. Ledger Wallet, which is a very good development. And then we also got this post here that I wanted to kind of showcase or go briefly through again. It might be a bit technical for some people, so I did also do another search to see kind of paraphrase what it means. And this post, effectively, where was it? Pretty sure I made a post about it. Here it is, right. It basically just, long and short of it, the post is just trying to say that Casper is Casper is the best because it is it's just faster and cheaper than Bitcoin, and when it comes to mining, eventually it's going to be more cost efficient to mine Casper. This is basically for me how I've read it through. It's a very, very long-winded way of talking about the stock to flow ratio and how Casper eventually is just going to be the better solution. Which I will link that as well down in my free Discord service. You go check that out right there as well. And of course, KRI very much appreciated this post. But I mean, again, that's also another significant development to look through as well. So to make a short recap of the Kaspa updates, therefore, Crypto K, Kas.Fyi, shutting down, unfortunately. Who might be back when the adoption comes back as well, which apparently Microsoft says here. The development now is starting to accelerate, which is great, and they're going to try and find ways to actually showcase it publicly so people can actually see it as well. We're seeing ways to make it easy for external third-party developers to come on board Casper as well with these sort of updates as well, which is fantastic. Johnny's not paid. KF not paid for the HTX listing just yet. That's probably why Casper's token's been removed from their recent posts here. Apart from that K that might be a leak, but you've not seen it as obvious in the first few ones because he's not paid for a listing just yet. Johnny will do it when he's ready. Probably when the market's in an uptrend, I'd imagine. And now Ledger Wallet is supporting Casper swaps alongside this as well. So Casper, again, some decent updates as well. And hopefully we can see Casper hold above this level at 4.8, 4.9 and make a push to 5.1 and up starting tomorrow, which would be ideal. Very ideal. I mean, yeah, again, it works, right? Funding has benefits because there are occasions where you'll hear some people FUD about a project and you're like, okay, and then you might see a response and you're like, most people are just blindly following, but there are certain people who are actually willing to learn and do their own research and take that to heart. They don't just want to listen to Jack Mellors or Fred Krueger be like, oh, Casper's terrible, and just leave it at that. I don't think Jack's actually said that, but I know Fred said that. They just leave it. They're like, oh, Casper's terrible. Oh, what's Casper about? They look it up and they're like, oh, wait, why is he saying that? It's actually really, really good. It's just not got a good price right now. And then like that's enough. So funding does work. It's not like it's a bad thing. It's just, yeah. I bought more Casper when Fred Krueger said Casper was no good. Yeah, that's what I mean. Fred Krueger, you had Da Vinci Germany in the early days. Da Vinci Germany now has a big bag of Casper apparently. So he also changed from a Casper hater and fudster to someone who supports it. Don't think it's going to be the next big thing. He's still very much Bitcoin maxi, but he's starting to shift slowly but surely anyways. Because people want the price to do well. Exchanges help. Exchanges are nothing. These exchanges, Binance, Coinbase, they're only good for price pumps. That's all it is, an exposure. Other than that, they are actually worthless. Like, they do nothing but just manipulate the price and just send it down. Like you will have DEXs and other platforms similar to these exchanges building on Casper, but you can buy Casper through Casper.com. Elements like that will be probably available soon enough as well. If not already available, you'll be able to buy it through those websites as opposed to buying it on, Kraken or whatever it may be. But it gives exposure and it gives a way to buy. It's people want the plus to do well. That's why he wants exchange listing. That's pretty much what it is. Welcome back, Falco. You're doing very, very well, brother. I appreciate it very, very much. Yo as well. Any names? And I very much appreciate again Kryptoni for all the shout outs. Yes, the VIP. You should join through BYDFI, our affiliate exchange. You get many benefits through BYDFI on my link. But also, if you check out the free Discord server, you follow the steps in there, you get a 1 month, 30-day free trial to my VIP. Also, just join through the link down below in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. And yeah, all available on the free Discord server and me on Twitter as well. All links are in the chat, so go check me out. Because one of the first kind of crypto, can't compare to a new coin because that's flooded. Yeah, I agree. Casper is unfortunate. If Casper launched last cycle, it'd be much bigger right now. They were going to launch it in 2018 actually, but they waited 3 years because it wasn't complete enough yet. And I'm glad they did. Honestly, I'm glad they did because even when they launched the first time round, they had a little bit of issues. But they completely solved in like 2 weeks and it was fine. But they wanted to wait another bit longer. But if they had everything, if Casper was in its stage right now, but 1 cycle earlier, there's no doubt about it, Casper would be absolutely massive because it would have been a less contested space. Now there's thousands of tokens out there. There's only a few real money coins. Casper's one of them. Bitcoin was one of them. But Bitcoin's first and foremost. That's why it's always going to be staying top for the time being. Casper has a chance to overtake it though. Welcome back, my bees. You did very, very well. One thing I learned about the cycle is I was talking about the cycle mood, honestly. Welcome back. Indigenous doing very, very well. What's happened? We spoke about cycle theory, stuff that we've already spoke about how me and my VIPs were correct in the cycle extension, about Treasury buying back 12.5 billion in their own debt. CFTC removing the bad crypto guidances. The market structure bill being negotiated right now. JP Morgan getting on Solana was very big. Trump apparently giving tax breaks to corporations. And then some Casper news, some negative news regarding Kas.Fyi, who are now shutting down their website. This here, which is bad, but you have got alternatives already out there. Not as good, in my opinion, but they're getting there, so hopefully you'll see that return. But he's leaving because he doesn't think Casper's going to get adoption anytime soon, which is sad to hear, but then you hear this from Michael Sutton where he's saying that this is the community sentiment right now. Everyone's saying it's not going to do well, but it's actually going to do fantastic. And we're seeing an accelerated effort right now in R&D of Casper, which is fantastic. They're going to try to find ways to publicize this so people can see it, so we can see it for ourselves. This is also big ways for third-party devs and whatnot to third-party developers and services to have better usability and accessibility to Casper's network with an easier API format as well. Johnny said they've not paid for listening right now. That's why you've not been seeing more from HTX as of late. Ledger swaps, Casper, and other stuff as well. That is a very, very quick summary for what we just spoke about. You're welcome. I learned about Casper through FUD. I learned about it through CG actually. I saw it on CMC and it was doing very, very well. Went to YouTube, found it from CG, and then started going from there. And then I did more research and on my conviction. Someone was saying, or we'll never replace Bitcoin. And I said, something is trying to replace Bitcoin. There's only one method possible, fair lot proof of work. Yeah, there you go. There's only one thing to replace Bitcoin as a fair lot proof of work. It's what Ethereum was trying to be. And then it went proof of stake. What Casper's trying to be, and it's still sticking to that. True. Very, very true. We can see the last time using Kas.Fyi, one of the last times using Kas.Fyi, we can see Wallet 1 is still holding a ridiculous amount. 1.255 billion Casper, currently $60.5 million for the Casper. Crazy amounts. People are here to make money. Best tech and research would make one assume price appreciation, no matter how much research, no one knows where it's going. You're right. My counter argument to that is thinking about tech, thinking about innovation. I think about BlackBerry versus Apple. BlackBerry was the most innovative phone tech out there because it managed to figure out a way to have free messaging just on BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry when I was growing up. It was amazing. Free messaging was insane. The little you had a literal keyboard on a phone. It was insane. It was cool. And then Apple did the same thing while also innovating to create the touchscreen. And BlackBerry didn't do that. And therefore BlackBerry fell behind and became obsolete. For me, Bitcoin's BlackBerry. Innovative, completely new, insane, but it hasn't innovated. It didn't hard fork. Casper has. It's got a bit of tech. It needs the adoption, and we'll get that. And when it gets that, like Apple exploded, like Internet exploded, Casper will also do so as well. That's my personal belief. Of course, as always, not financial advice. But that being said, family, that does conclude today's Casper Crypto live stream. If you enjoyed, leave a like, share, subscribe for more, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out. Check out the socials, the VIP, the links all down below in the description. Let me have a great day, good evening, and good night. See you all in the next one, and take care now.